Nau mai, haere mai, welcome, and warm Pacific greetings. I'm Kate, and during this video we're going to kōrero about nutrition as a foundation for overall hauora, health and well-being. How COVID-19 and long COVID can impact your puku, gut and digestion, and what you can do about this, and simple tips for anyone to improve their diet now, as well as specific diet plans that have helped others with ME/CFS. We've been supporting people with ME/CFS for 10 years, and they overwhelmingly tell us that diet matters. What you choose will be individual to you. The important thing is to make sure that you get the nutrients that your body needs.
If we're not looking at nutrient sufficiency, and then in a more broad sense looking at the foundations of health, movement, sleep, stress, we're really missing a beat when it comes to both preventing and treating long COVID. Diet and long COVID are intricately linked. In working with a cohort of people with long COVID, it's not a proportion of those people are malnourished, it's basically everybody. So every single person that I've been working with is not taking in sufficient intakes of at least one or more essential vitamins and minerals, and usually it's way more than just one or two.
Before we kōrero about specialised diet plans that have helped others with post-viral illnesses like ME/CFS, let's talk about diet in general. If making all the suggested changes below feels too overwhelming, then start with one area, and then once that's a habit, move on to something else. Doing something is better than doing nothing. When I made changes to my diet, I didn't think I could do it at first, and it was overwhelming. But it got easier, and when it contributed to reducing my symptoms and increasing my energy, it was worth it.
So my diet's changed, lots and lots of things have had to change for the better.
So why is diet important? Did you know that your immune system is strongly linked to your gut health? Good nutrition habits are the key to supporting your immune system and your overall hauora and resilience.
So really nutrition is, it's the foundation upon which we're built. We're built from those building blocks we take in. All of the chemical messengers that we create within the body are created from that. And it certainly makes sense, and people don't recognize it enough, that if any of those components are missing or lacking, it starts to cascade and nothing then works correctly. And it's not until we see a challenge or a threat that people often realize to the extent to which they're undernourished. We need to make sure that our diet is supporting our immune and inflammatory regulation, which is obviously it's one of its critical roles, from things like omega-3 fats, which help us to modulate inflammation correctly, through to those nutrients that I mentioned before, vitamin A, D, E, zinc, selenium, the whole raft really, that are helping us to properly regulate our appropriate immune responses, through to taking in enough protein, because we're going to have a slightly higher requirement because we're more prone to losing muscle.
I'm doing a lot of listening and reading when I can into the gut and what I can do to help my gut, because they're talking about, there's lots of research that says the gut is the second brain. So if I feel like if I can get my gut, I guess my bowels, working a lot better for me, then surely it's got to help my brain.
The COVID-19 virus can damage the digestive tract, and this may contribute to some of your long COVID symptoms. Many of us have heard about the loss of taste and smell. However, you may also have feelings of nausea, stomach pains, bloating, burping, your kai repeating after you eat, a burning feeling in your chest, or feeling like something is stuck in your throat.
I've had bad gastrointestinal problems, like I went for a period of 3 weeks of not having anything solid go through. It was basically going in one end and out the other. And then I've had things like constant burping.
It is worth noting that certain medications such as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen to help manage pain should also be avoided, as these can damage the gut and cause further issues. First of all, for those without significant digestive symptoms, creating a diet plan doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. A few easy switches and some careful planning can make a big difference to your energy and how you feel. Here's some very simple things that you can do right now that will be helpful. Choose to eat more fresh vegetables and fruit, along with simple, good quality meat, dairy, and some grains like rice, oats, quinoa, and some grainy bread, although bread causes problems for some people. Reduce the amount of refined sugar and processed kai you eat. Eat fruit and veggies that are in season, as this is usually more cost effective.
First and foremost, having a very simple but effective understanding of how to structure a meal, I think, is the most important thing. And to simply have an understanding of what I call a modular approach to meal planning, where protein is the priority. So if we're having that 1 to 2 palm sizes of protein, then we can build a meal starting with that. The next step would be vegetables, obviously critical for fiber, probiotic starches, for additional vitamins and minerals, phytochemicals that we know are also important for immunity. And so people should strive to get in maybe 3+ fist-sized servings of vegetables. Then in addition to that, it's going to vary per person. Maybe 1 to 2 thumb sizes of additional fat, carbohydrate added to that based on how full someone is, what their activity levels are, things like that. So this modular approach helps people to understand how to simply put meals together, rather than having to be counting, the back of, or whatever's on the back of a food label or anything like that.
You may well have heard this before, but honestly, making these simple changes will increase the nutrients your body has to make energy and heal. It will also increase the fibre in your diet, which helps feed the good bacteria that live in your puku. It will make a big difference to your health. Let's dive into a couple of these in more detail. Refined sugar in processed foods affects your immune system's ability to work properly. This includes lollies, chocolate, cakes and biscuits, sugary drinks and juices, so limit or remove these as much as possible. When I say processed kai, I mean food that comes in a packet. It usually doesn't look like the original kai from the land or ocean, and it can contain added salt, fat, sugar, and preservatives. Processed foods are convenient and available everywhere, but they offer very little nutrient value to provide the fuel your body needs. Many packet foods like sugar, white breads, vegetable oils, and processed meats contribute to inflammation in your body. If you do buy packaged foods, choose those with less than 5 ingredients. Lastly, we know the price of fruit and veggies can fluctuate month by month, and eating fruit and veggies that are out of season can be really expensive. So don't stress if fresh veggies are too expensive for you. Frozen veggies are a great substitute. Canned vegetables can work well as well. Just look out for added sugar and salt, although many products have low salt and low sugar options available nowadays. When it comes to nutritional balance, follow the 80-20 rule. This means eating natural, unprocessed food 80% of the time, with lots of veggies and fruit and protein. Then allowing yourself special treats the other 20% of the time. If you're like my family, kai is to be shared and enjoyed, and an occasional treat is enjoyable. You might find the following tips useful also. Choose natural oils and spreads like olive oil, coconut oil, or butter, rather than refined and processed versions like canola oil and margarine. Eating plenty of good protein supports the immune system and helps repair tissues in the body. If you're struggling to eat enough protein, a good quality protein powder could be helpful, and we've included some good options in the information via the link in the video description.
But when we look at the evidence, a lot of people with long COVID are not taking in enough protein. and I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's, 50% or more. So a lot of people are not taking enough protein. Now, when we look at the recommended daily allowances, they're way too low anyway, because they're basically there to help us preserve what we need to survive. They're not there to preserve optimal immune function, because protein is really important for immunity as well. They're not the amounts that are required to properly support muscle.
Aim to drink mainly water and other drinks with no added sugar. Your body needs around 2 litres of water per day because every cell in your body requires water to function. Limit or remove alcohol, as it can affect your taha hinengaro, mental health, as well as your physical health, hauora, and your body's ability to heal. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory fats that are helpful for the brain and the gut. Unless you eat a lot of fatty fish, you might be deficient in omega-3. However, there are some great omega-3 supplements available at chemists and health stores. This includes an algae-based version for those who are vegetarian, vegan, or don't tolerate fish oils well. Lastly, a good quality multivitamin will also help ensure your body has the range of nutrients it needs.
Nutritional supplementation for long COVID is probably one of the most discussed things. A lot of what we talk about in supplementation are things that are quite specific, that there is evidence to show they help improve long COVID. They usually have a relatively small but potentially still quite important impact, right? But what will have a much bigger impact is covering our bases with those essential nutrients. People often have a raft of nutrient insufficiencies, so if we're taking a good quality multi, it really helps to provide nutritional insurance that just covers those bases. Additional supplementation of vitamin D or zinc when that's recommended, and people can get tested, obviously, blood tests for vitamin D and zinc very easily. In addition to that, there are some very specific supplements that might help with, say, energy creation within a cell, because the virus will co-opt energy from the cell, and in doing so it can kind of change the cell's energy dynamics and damage that to some degree. And so they found, for example, that coenzyme Q10 levels are lower in people who have had COVID and people with long COVID. A lot of the products that we can just buy off the shelf are not always the best option, because it's not that their quality is poor per se, so often they're, say, poorly absorbable forms of minerals. So it's really about looking at what the ingredients are, making sure they're the better quality, but a lot of the practitioner-only supplements and the most reputable brands will generally use better forms.
Some people with long COVID can have major problems tolerating food. This could be due to a food intolerance or allergy that can develop after the viral illness. You may benefit from cutting out some of the main problem foods such as gluten, dairy, eggs or soy. A number of people with post-viral illnesses have benefited from removing gluten from their diet. Gluten is inflammatory for some people and can irritate the puku or gut. While it can be a challenge initially to remove gluten, there are many gluten-free varieties of food available now, and if you feel better from doing this, it will be worth it. Speak with your doctor or health provider about a referral to a dietitian or nutritionist to help you work out which foods are causing you problems. One type of intolerance that can develop is a histamine intolerance. In some people after having COVID-19, the histamine balance in our bodies is disrupted, or the body may not break down histamine in the gut properly. Either way, histamine builds up and we get symptoms like a bucket overflowing. If you have digestive and other symptoms like headaches, sneezing, fatigue, or skin issues after kai or foods like alcohol, particularly beer and wine, chocolate, bananas, tomatoes, citrus and some other fruits like strawberries, or fermented or aged foods, and cured and processed meats, you could have a histamine intolerance. Our skin is the largest organ in our body, and some skin conditions are related to how our gut is functioning. The body uses the skin to try and get rid of toxins, so if you have sinus issues, itching skin or hives, eczema, psoriasis, with or without digestive symptoms, this can be due to a food intolerance or could be the development of a histamine intolerance. Antihistamine medications and a low histamine diet can help. However, the diet is very restrictive, so we recommend seeking advice from your doctor to rule out any other conditions and a dietitian or nutritionist for dietary advice. We talk about what histamine intolerance is in video 3, so check out this for more details. Further information on the difference between intolerances and allergies is available to download via the link in the video description. Other food plans that people with post-viral illnesses such as ME/CFS have found helpful include the low-carb diet, keto, paleo, and autoimmune diets. When I say diet, I really mean food plan that can help you reduce symptoms and feel great rather than a weight loss diet, although some people do end up losing weight anyway. Different diets will suit different people depending on your symptoms and your situation, so choose what works for you.
I had to make some changes to my diet because I really felt that something was going on with my gut. I was, putting on weight, and I felt like I was a water bottle sloshing around. I could just feel the water retention, and I just thought this is not right. So the Long COVID Facebook page has a hashtag gut, which has a segment on it anyway. It was basically the ketogenic diet, and I did that really, really strictly for 3 months, and my spasms all but disappeared. I wasn't having them every time I lay down. When I was resting, I forgot about them. It's like, wow, this is amazing. They are now there as a system overload.
Particularly with POTS, you should, a low carb diet is best because the blood all comes into the digestive system to try and help digest, and I can't afford to have less blood circulating in my body. So I've gone on the keto diet, which I've also been advised by a friend who's a doctor that the ketones are really good to help to clean out old cells, and I've also found it has really helped my brain fog, and I've felt a little bit more alert than what I was before I went on it.
If, for example, we tend towards overeating, then highly satiating diets like keto or like fasting, they're probably going to be beneficial so long as within the more limited food intake you're getting enough of those essential vitamins and minerals. But if someone tends to undereat and a diet like keto or maybe implementing fasting causes them to downregulate even more, in other words, eat less, then it may not be the best thing to do because they're probably going to be even more nutrient insufficient in that space. So I think in terms of diet overall for long COVID, the most important thing is that people are eating a diet that's based on mostly natural unrefined foods. They're eating meals, not snacks. They're getting in enough protein, vegetables, essential fats, those types of things. And then maybe thinking about fine-tuning a little bit more based on their own personal experience. And obviously for that they can get advice from a good health practitioner who can help to determine what the best diet is for them. But the psychosocial element of diet is really important too. You know, if I have a client come in and I think, well, clinically, maybe a keto diet is the best thing for this person physiologically, but they hate eating that way. It doesn't work with their family, it doesn't work for them culturally, whatever it happens to be, they're just not going to stick to it. So the biggest thing actually is being able to stick to it.
If you would like to know more about these specific diet plans, there's further information and some tracking sheets to help you via the link in the video description. In conclusion, choosing some easy changes to your diet now with the 80-20 balance rule can support your immune system to heal, improve your energies and support gut health. If you have challenging digestive problems due to long COVID, seek support from your doctor, dietitian or nutritionist to work out if any intolerances or allergies are involved. And create a diet plan that suits you best. Remember that one size doesn't fit all, so choose what works for you and what you can afford. It's really important to be kind to yourself and eat occasional treats without feeling guilt. It's all about balance. Ngā mihi, and thank you for watching. Please do get in touch if you have any questions, and if you found this video helpful, please share it.